Hey, it's Andrew here from Folding Sheets and Nampo. I was just going to make a quick video today about Pansy Division. And why Pansy Division? It's because they were just all over my social media feeds yesterday because they released a... it's the 30th year anniversary of their first ever single. The release of their first ever single, which was Femme in a Black Leather Jacket. And they made, Chris and John from the band had made a quick video about it as well, which was pretty cool to watch. So anyway, I just wanted to make a video about Pansy Division as well, because especially this channel focuses on mostly queercore stuff. And Pansy Division was one of the first queercore bands I ever heard. It was either them or Huggy Bear. I can't remember which one came first, but I'll just give a bit of background on that. So Pansy Division, if you don't know who they are a band from San Francisco. The two long-lasting members of the band are Chris and John. They're a bit of a queer punk kind of band. They're part of the queercore scene. And they've been around, they're still around doing stuff today, but they're on a bit of a hiatus, it seems like. But they started in 1992, I think, by the looks of it, from when that single came out, Femme in a Black Leather Jacket, which I didn't know that song back then. I would have only been about 12 or 11 years old when it came out, but a couple years later I had heard them for the first time. I would have been around 14 years old when the Deflowered album came out. So Deflowered album had a couple songs on it that I had heard on the radio here. So I was listening to a radio station, it was Triple J, and Richard Kingsmill. If you live in Australia, you know who Richard Kingsmill is. He's quite popular for influencing the music scene here. I'll say influencing. Some people say controlling the music scene here. So anyway, he played one of Pansy Division's songs on the radio, Triple J, and I think it was Denny. So I was listening to the radio and that song just came on with no announcement of the band prior to it. And halfway through the song, I'm like, oh, this must be a gay band. And I'd never heard a gay band before. Unless Huggy Bear had come first, I don't know. But anyway, we'll just assume it was Pansy Division. So halfway through the song, I'm like, this band sounds pretty cool. I think I want to find out more about them. I want to find out if they're a gay band to begin with. But I like the sound of them, I like the style. And the fact that they're singing about the gay kind of scene or whatever, you could tell just from that one song. The lyrics in Danny are, Danny picked me up, Danny did me. He's got a tattoo of his dick on his belly. It's about a guy with HIV. And the lyrics in that song are actually it's very poetic. There's a lot of lines in there that could almost bring a tear to your eye. But also, when that song finished, another song came on. I'm like, I had to listen to about 5 or 6 songs before the radio presenter came back on and announced all the songs he just played. And I'm like, who was that band? And he said, that was Pansy Division with Danny. And I was like, okay, remember that in my head. I think I maybe even wrote it down so I wouldn't forget it. So Pansy Division was the name of that band. And then, because we didn't have any internet back then, I couldn't just look them up and see who is this band, what else have they done, Or internet was around back then, but no one had the internet at home, or it wasn't easy to access things. And probably even back then there wasn't stuff about this on the internet either way. So I just remembered that band. I thought next time I go into a record shop like the punk rock record shops in the city, maybe I'll see if I can find something on them. And then it was about a month later, I was listening to a different radio station. It was a community radio station. And I hear another song, and the band sounded similar to Pansy Division. I wasn't sure if it was them. The song was Groovy Underwear. And I'm like, oh, well, if this isn't Pansy Division as well, it's definitely a band similar to them, and it's definitely a gay band. And so, again, I waited for the song to finish, and the radio announcer said, oh, that was Pansy Division. I was like, oh, yes, it's the same band with Groovy Underwear. And I'm like, well, that's it. I have to go and buy one of their CDs, because that song was also pretty cool. And I went into, I think, Missing Link Records, which doesn't exist anymore, but it was like a punk rock record shop in Melbourne back in the day, Melbourne, Australia. And then I bought a copy of Deflowered. So I think Deflowered was the first CD of theirs I ever purchased. And I did notice in the record shop, like they had a few of their other CDs as well. And I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. They've got a whole bunch of Pansy Division CDs, not just the one, but I could only afford one at the time. So I bought Deflowered, I took it home, Absolutely loved it. There was a song on there called, I think it was on Deflowered, called Rock Bottom Off, which was just, it was funny, but it was also very catchy and cool, and I loved that song as well. So anyway, since then, I then read about Pansy Division a bit more in some fanzines and stuff like that, and there was one of my mates who was quite popular in Melbourne in promoting bands and doing things like that. His name was Richard Watts. He had actually... I got to meet him, and he told me Pansy Division were actually in Melbourne just recently. I was like, "You're kidding me? I didn't know." And they did an all ages show at so this would have been in '95 or maybe '96, maybe '96-ish. They did a show at this like community centre in a suburb called Thomastown, which is not too far from where I was living with my parents nearby. And Thomastown is a really rough area where, back then especially, you wouldn't walk around being openly gay, and Pansy Division happened to do this gig there, an all ages gig, because I wouldn't have been able to go to their shows at the pubs in Melbourne because I still was under 18. But anyway, I didn't know they toured anyway, so I just kept hoping they would one day come back to Australia. Never did. Hoping I would then get to see maybe Pansy Division all the times I'd gone overseas. So I've been up the west coast of America heaps. I've lived in Vancouver for a year. And Pansy Division never played when I was there, unfortunately. But still my goal one day to see them live. Anyway, they've been around for ages. Since then I've bought almost all of their albums. I don't have them anymore. I've still got, though, this record. The Queer to the Core, which had Political Arsehole on it, which was kind of a very catchy punk edge song of theirs. I really like that. I still do have their CDs. I've just got the disc that I probably keep in a little fold out thing from listening to music in my car, but I don't have the covers anymore because everyone got rid of their CDs, didn't they? Anyway, so just I thought I'll do a bit of a quick cover of one of the songs from their first single, Femme in a Black Leather Jacket. I was going to do Home at Christmas, which is one of the B-sides, so I really like that song. That was so catchy, and I listen to it every Christmas, or in the lead up to Christmas. I chuck it on a playlist, but I'm going to do that song after I've got a Christmas tree and got all the decorations up, and I'll do that separately at a later date. But for now, I'll just do Femme in a Black Leather Jacket, hoping I recall all the chords. Yeah, we'll give it a go. I don't like much, I'll put it away. It doesn't appeal to me, straight or gay. Dude catches my eye, and he don't act tough. Why should he try? Yeah, he's a femme. In a black leather jacket, he's a gem. In a black leather jacket, he's a femme. In a black leather jacket, and I wanna take him home with me. With his long hair and pouty lips, cute little butt and sexy hip. The way he moves has me inspired. Yeah, he's the boy that I require. He's a femme. In a black leather jacket, he's a gem. In a black leather jacket, he's a femme. In a black leather jacket, and I wanna take him home with me. Femme, 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 femme. 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 He looks good in skirts, he does in jeans, and he's the most notorious queen. His personality, I'm not impressed, but I can't wait to get undressed with him. He's a femme. In a black leather jacket, he's a gem. In a black leather jacket, he's a femme. In a black leather jacket, and I wanna take him home with me. He's a femme. In a black leather jacket, he's a gem. In a black leather jacket, he's a femme.